As we look ahead, 2024 is far more than just an election year. It's a year flooded with legal battles.
Donald Trump, Joe Biden, and Hunter all face their own legal challenges ahead. Let's go off the wall to dig a little deeper. And there's a lot of digging that goes into understanding the timeline of what Donald Trump is up against, because every single one of these planets swirling around the son of Trump have implications on the election.
Absolutely. And it's not just Donald Trump, it's Joe Biden, which makes 2024 a year not just of politics at the ballot box, but politics in the courtroom. And Democrats have made it very clear, both as a political angle and as attorney generals, they intend to tie up Donald Trump in 2024 in a host of legal cases. What you see here is a sampling of them. Donald Trump has 4 different criminal investigations going on as we speak. He's got the classified document case down in Florida for Mar-a-Lago, classified documents. You well remember the raid. You got the Georgia election investigation, which is the Fulton County DA, Fani Willis, looking into what happened as far as votes in Georgia after the election. You got the January 6th investigation under Jack Smith. And then don't forget about Alvin Bragg here in New York City. A number of different, it's convoluted, but criminal. You mentioned 4 criminal, but there's one that's dominated headlines recently, which is the civil investigation, which is still ongoing. Yeah, that's Letitia James in New York City. But she's not the only civil investigation going on. So while there's 4 criminal investigations, let's take a look at the timeline. You'll see it's filled as well with civil lawsuits going on. As you take a look at the timeline, actually, you can see the E.G. Jean Carroll defamation suit. This is related to The Apprentice, like it's another. So there's what we're trying to get to is in the universe, there's the big ones. And then in the middle of it, you've got date after date after date of smaller civil courses, things as well, which if you're looking at, as we were putting this together, it's a maze to try to understand what could happen when. Because if you go back to Jack Smith, the reason we're talking about this timeline is that he has now asked the Supreme Court to weigh in on Donald Trump's defense team, the belief that they have immunity. The Supreme Court has taken that up. And when that trial, he wants that trial to start on March 4th, which is one day before Super Tuesday. If the Supreme Court rules in his favor, that could happen. If it doesn't, it gets delayed even further. What's unprecedented about Jack Smith's request is it skips the federal appellate court level, goes straight from the district court to the Supreme Court in order to preserve this trial date before Super Tuesday. Now, anything can happen, Pete, as we push forward towards Election Day and the Republican National Convention. Any of these trials, the big one is probably the classified document case in May. Any of these trials could be the first horse to cross the finish line. We don't know when exactly we're going to hear from these trials, but we know this. We know the goal is to hit it before people start voting. That's exactly right. Well, this being a big date on the primary calendar, but then eventually if these trials get pushed, the concern or the concern in the Trump world, but also what Democrats hope happen is that you're getting into July, August, September, October trial dates before Election Day. You've got conventions coming up here, and this cuts also into the Biden camp as we move toward a convention. If his numbers are still fading, could they make a move there too? So we mentioned that it's not just Donald Trump who will have legal issues going into an election year. It's President Joe Biden as well. Every House Republican has now voted for a formal impeachment inquiry into Joe Biden. And we don't know exactly what the timeline will be on that, but look at the first quarter of 2024, and there will be hearings. Potentially, we saw the spectacle this week of Hunter Biden hosting a press conference on the Senate side, even though they wanted him on the House side, and you wouldn't go behind closed doors. Expect more of that. But they're going to be digging for documents, because ultimately it's bank accounts and wire transfers that could prove the things they believe happened. Here's some of what to expect from Congressman Byron Donalds.
And it's going to be crystal clear that there are articles of impeachment that should be drafted for Joe Biden because, number one, he accepted bribes through his family from foreign nations, especially China and others. Number two, he knew that his brother and his son were violating the Foreign Agents Registration Act. I believe that's enough to draft articles of impeachment against Joe Biden, and I believe that is going to happen in the House of Representatives in the spring.
If that happens, does it change the race on the Democrat side? It really could.
It's all tied to Hunter Biden. And he'll have his own legal issues coming up as well, including potentially a contempt of Congress charge. But for now, he has 3 felony counts related to his purchase of firearms when he was a drug user in 2018.
And then the more recent one, just this month, 3 felony tax offenses and a misdemeanor tax offense.
And as I mentioned, a potential contempt of Congress charge as well. But really, the big one is what's tied to Joe Biden and the influence peddling scheme. Jonathan Turley, Fox News contributor and law professor, was on the Will Cain podcast on Friday. Here's what he had to say about Hunter Biden.
You can appear and testify, or you can appear and not testify by invoking the Fifth Amendment. Standing in front of the Capitol and taunting Congress is a rather bizarre legal strategy. In my view, he is in flagrant violation. He's in open contempt of Congress. He could be charged with that crime.
Jonathan Turley dressed a lot more nicely than you did in that podcast.
Everybody's making fun of me. I go casual on the pod.
A lot of chest hair.
There's a lot of chest hair?
Yeah, there was.
There's a lot of chest
There was
hair?
a lot of chest hair.
You've been eating my vegetables.
That orange in your stocking's been doing a lot of good over the years.
Hey, you can get more of that chest hair and some more legal analysis of what's coming up in 2024 on the Will Cain podcast. Go download it wherever you get your audio entertainment.
There it is. Go check it out. It's a great podcast.